Today, we're going to talk a little bit about exceptions and waivers. So, my work in certification support is really supporting districts ultimately in getting the best resources into the hands of our emergent bilingual learners. So, we want certified teachers that understand the processes and the functions and the purposes and one are just prepared, right, for the challenges that lie ahead in the emergent bilingual classroom. So we often work with teachers that are not certified, right? Of course, in gaining their certification. So the state does want certified teachers in their classrooms serving their emergent bilingual learners. And if we do not have certified teachers in those classrooms, then we need to apply for what we call an exception or a waiver. So the exception is going to be used in our bilingual classrooms. We're seeking an exception from the policy, the state policy. Exceptions are designed to be temporary, as are waivers, right? So waivers are the same thing, but they're for ESL teachers. So exceptions and waivers are designed to be temporary while that teacher is getting their certification. And so, you know, last I checked, there was no date necessarily. This is a lot at the discretion of the state. So what happens is the district ends up applying for an exception and a waiver to the state, and then the state approves or disapproves. So anything could happen, right? We understand that teachers need time to get their certification. We also understand that districts are struggling to get uh, the right teachers into their classrooms. But the intention of the state is for students to have prepared and certified classrooms in those in classrooms serving our English learners. So with that, there is a level of grace around the time that is given for educators to seek certification. And I think the intention is really around 1 year. That could really stretch to as much as 2 or 3 years, but having worked behind closed doors around the work of approving those exceptions and waivers, I understand, having been there and been in those conversations and looking at those applications, the intention is like 2 or 3 years max. And so really, it's really supposed to just be 1 year that you're on an exception or a waiver, just enough time for you to get all of your tests taken and become fully certified. So that is why the districts ask educators to become fully certified. Sometimes there are hard conversations that take place around that when a teacher does not seek certification. Um, Even in the times or the situations where educators may attempt the exam, but then they don't pass the exam, even then, many districts, I understand, have some grace because they see that you're trying to attempt the exam, you're challenging the exam. Maybe you haven't passed it yet, but at least you are in the process of passing that. And so a lot of times I will get people on their third, fourth, or fifth attempt of the tests, because maybe they will go to providers that are a little more commercial, a little more well-known, or maybe the district has their own, um, you know, organization that they work with. But then I will get these educators that come to me on their last attempts. So I also have educators that come to me when they're on waivers, and Granvia is able to provide those CPE hours that are necessary for you to get your ESL certification and get those testing waiver hours taken care of. So, yes, there is pressure on the districts to be sure that they have uh, certified teachers there. The state will ask, and I fully agree with it. They will ask those districts, what are you doing to help these educators obtain their certification? because our EBs need fully certified educators in the classroom. So districts don't like having those conversations, and they actually have to fill out an application for every single person by name that is on a waiver, or an exception. So that is the piece on waivers and exceptions, and I hope that has been helpful to you. I do want to let you know that we do work with waivers, we do work with exceptions. I have to put in a little plug here for Grand Via. The work that we do is personalized and individualized. So if you come on a waiver, we will stay working with you. If it is on the BTLPT exam, then we will work with you in Spanish. You should not be BTLPT prepping or getting waivers in a program in English. That's not appropriate. It is a Spanish language exam. If you are getting some sort of making up hours for your BTLPT waiver and those classes are taking place in English, what you're doing is you're talking about the exam. You're not preparing for the exam. That is a very different thing. Anyway, so with that said, I hope that clears up some of the questions around exceptions and waivers. If you do want to find it, let me go ahead and share screen. You can find it online, and then you will find that information around emergent bilinguals. And in there, we talk about exceptions and waivers. It's all over policy. And then students that are not being served in classrooms with certified educators, those students are coded as being in alternative language programs. And alternative language programs, it's like an alternative educational setting. It is with you, but it is alternative to the ideal that the state has intended for that student. All right. Well, I hope that this cleared it up, as we will be posting many more videos around bilingual programs and instruction.